Hey, good morning there, Bruce. I wanted to go over a couple things with you, but I figured it may be easier to do this video real quick, and then I can talk to you about it on the phone or text you, and you'll better understand what I'm talking about by being able to see it kind of on the screen here. So I've been going over the regulations and the law that they have written, and I've basically been putting together the order of events that have to take place and what forms need to be submitted at different stages of the offender's conviction. So here's how it works according to their rules. When the offender is initially convicted in the courtroom, whether by the magistrate's court or by the Supreme Court, either the magistrate's clerk or the Supreme Court registrar will complete what's called a Form 1, and that is the court transmittal form. Now this form right here, let me mute my phone here because it wants to start beeping, of course, every time I get on here. Now this form here is filled out, and it just has basic information such as the offender's name, the convictions that that apply, their qualifying offenses for putting them under this this type of registration need. And it has the sentence, the sentencing date, how long he was sentenced for, and it has whether the person was put on probation, whether they put on parole, are they incarcerated, or what exactly was taking place if it was outside of that by the court. And they want to know if it was on appeal and if they're getting released after an appeal. So they want to do this basic information, and then that will be submitted to the let's see, it goes to the registrar of the sex offender registry. So that's where that goes. So that's the initial form. So because at this point in the game, they don't know an address, they don't know any kind of mental health, anything they may have received while they're in prison or incarcerated, that type of thing that medically that they may have received while they were incarcerated, so they don't have that kind of information yet. So after they're incarcerated, the next form that gets done is a Form 3, which is the facility release form. Now the facility release form is everything that's in this initial registration. It goes into a lot of detail about where the person's going to live, where the person where the person's going to be staying. Where does the person go frequently before they're released? Where they go and visit? They want to know closest relatives. They want to know all the information about the person. They'll do that all here in the initial registration. So this is actually not correct. So the way I have it set up right now, I'm going to have to change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another button to here. That's going to be the initial or Form 1 court transmittal. That'll be here. I'm going to change this to facility release because this is where all the information will go. So what will happen is they will complete this form, put the basic information in, and then when they do the facility release, they'll put the person's NIB number in, and it's going to then pull the information from the Form 1 over to the Form 3, and then they will complete the additional details of what's needed in the facility release, and then they can print that facility release form, electronically send it over as well through here. So that's the only thing that I needed to change, because I was sitting here looking at this, I'm doing the Form 1, I'm like, well, this is already the same stuff that we needed in the Form 3, just a slimmed down version. So I'm just going to put another form on here, another button on here, and make it to where they just basically all use this one form, this one screen here, this one menu, to kind of go all the way down that list. Everything else here is the same. This covers all the additional forms and things that they will need to do on here. So everything's actually covered here. Now what I did is I took off the registrar section, because the registrar will then use this button here, and I changed this to forms and notices. So what will happen is after they do the initial stuff, they need to reprint, or somebody needs to print a form electronically. They would just go to the forms and notices, put in the person's NIB number, and then select the form that they want to print for this person. If the form needs additional details, they can put it in, and it will then be saved to the person's file. Also, the offender search, if they want to do a search, That will bring up the ability for them to do extra comments, additional edits, investigative notes, anything they need to do. They can actually edit, do address management, work, employment management, that type of thing. They can do all that from the offender search section. So that's how that'll kind of work. But I'm just going to add the one additional button here, change the name of this button, and then I think we'll be good. And that will basically, I'm just going to copy the stuff over from the initial over to the Form 1, slim it down to what it needs, and then we'll be good to go. So that's what I'm going to do here. I wanted to kind of explain that to you on the video. Then I can talk to you and we can better understand what it is I'm trying to do. Okay? So that's all I wanted to do. I'll talk to you here in a little bit.